And it really is an extraordinarily lovely brief, because in a little bit like you were saying, that Séverine, for her, it was how she came to understand Bordeaux. For me, this is the sort of stuff I find fascinating, and particularly in each one of them, a little bit like with, you know, the history of the world. But I've always loved that line of, is it Justin Howard Sneed, who said, people don't want wine education, they want dinner party one-liners. And we're slightly more than one line, but they are dinner party stories that you can tell. And actually, you could tell them to anybody drinking any sort of Bordeaux. It's particularly nice because I'd say between around a third or a half of them, there is this beautiful way where, you know, for me it's quite nice. Quite often I found I just naturally came back to Monastic La Gravière. I think I know more about the estate than anybody other than the Bonny family, I think now. I'm terribly well informed. But, you know, often we'd start with something that was slightly surprising. And a lot of wine education starts with the wine. It sort of says, right, we're already on our ground and we're already there. And I think often you need to go slightly wider and go to somewhere that people find they've already got a mental reference. And one of my favourites, and I never knew this beforehand, was that Jean Pitney was the only person to have asked for a non-French wine on Desert Island Discs. Now, the wine he asked for was Opus 1. And then, of course, great irony was it's not entirely a non-French wine, because it was made by a Bordeaux family who've invested in what was originally called Napa Medoc in California. And that got us into how different families have gone elsewhere in the world, and they've gone into Argentina, like the Bonnies, and into Chile and into China, and they've expanded elsewhere. So you start with something that's, and this was the thing of the wine show, when we started that, we had a big board across the top, and it had universal human themes like migration, war, famine, earthquakes, and remember some of the sort of original themes, history. And then we found a wine story that went in. This is just a more distilled version. We have a whole series of themes, and Robert sent me a sort of list of bits. You know, these are places where we could begin. In some cases, there were quite big themes. I mean, Belgians, Dutch, Irish were sort of three early ones, English. In other cases, they were quite sort of Bordeaux-led, left bank, right bank. So then it was quite easy. I just went off and found the thing that allowed us to get drawn into that general story.